450,000+ views, 1,500 comments, and 10,000 likes on the last video we put out on 9 types of houses to never buy. You've asked for it a number of times to film another one. Here's part 2, guys. Let's blast these out. 9 new types of houses I think you should never be buying. If this video gets 1,000+ likes, so go ahead and start pounding that like button, guys. And I see enough comments come below, I'll actually go back and review that last video and do what's called a reaction video where I go through all the comments. And the comments in that one are quite obnoxious, I've heard. I haven't really gone through all of them, but I hear there's a lot of haters and bashers. And if you want to see me bash back, I'm gonna do it. Now let's dig into this one, guys. This is gonna help you with your business. If you're an investor agent or if you're a homeowner watching this right now, this is gonna help you when you come to selecting the house that you're gonna buy. Be safe. Number 1 is if the house has galvanized piping or cast iron piping, if it's over 40 to 50 years old, that's the traditional length of time that piping can stay intact before it starts eroding and corroding away. If it's updated already, you're good to go. But when you buy a house, make sure it's been fully updated, not partially updated, because that's a mistake I just made recently, and I've done a lot of real estate transactions, flipped a lot of houses and owned a lot of properties. What happened was I just assumed it was good to go, and then they updated the full thing. I had an $11,000 plumbing bill because what we had to do was tunnel in from the outside. If you get into a situation where the plumbing underneath the house needs a full overhaul, there's only really 2 options. Pull up the floors, pound through the concrete, fix the pipes that way, seal it back up, put the floors on top, or you have to tunnel in from the outside. Now, if you're gonna tunnel in from the outside, guys, don't just go with the plumbing company that's gonna say, oh, we'll do this for you. They're gonna throw on the most expensive digging fees that you can. They're just replacing the pipes. So think about this. If you find the right digger, you should be paying between $100 and $200 a foot. The way we find these individuals is we contact foundation companies who do this all the time. That's gonna be your best bet. Make sure that if it's been updated, that you get proof by scoping the pipes, have a plumber come out there and make sure it's been done. This is gonna save you a massive cost. You don't wanna move into a house, be excited to move in day 1 and find out that this needs to be done. It can be a nasty headache. Knob and tube wiring. This is an old wiring system, guys, very dangerous. And if the house has been around for 80 to 100 years, which a lot of you guys are living in older markets, make sure the house has an updated wiring system, because if you go buy a knob and tube wiring house, this is a very risky situation to be in. Go check out knob and tube wiring on the internet and see the headaches of why this is important. So as you go to buy a house, get an inspection, ask the inspector. If this is new to you, if you don't know how to inspect it on your own, does this house have knob and tube wiring? It was built in 1920, 1930. I just want to make sure it's been updated. If they give you the good, go ahead, you're good to go. If not, work that into your budget. Just because it has this old wiring system doesn't mean it cannot be fully replaced, but get a budget on this before you go ahead and close on the property, because it's quite expensive. Do not buy a house that's below street level. Think about it. Here's a street, here's your house. What could be the potential problem of this? Do you think water is going to funnel towards your house or away from your house? Do you think water and a consistent water flow coming to your house up against your foundation over and over? Now you can create a French drain and pay for someone to come do this, or create an actual irrigation system. Just don't buy a house because the numbers look good. Ask yourself why the other person's selling their house for so cheap. A lot of times you come across great deals. The reason why they're selling it for so cheap is there's a nasty nightmare behind that price. Now this is a big one. Shared driveways. Now this could go either way. If you have a good neighbor, a nice person that's not out to get you, it's gonna go great. Probably never a problem. Now what if you get a sociopath or a nightmare neighbor next to you and their job is to make your life a living hell? All the time this happens, guys, and people block each other in and they do it to spite the other one. And when you get in a fight with your neighbor now, what can they really do to get back at you? But if you share a driveway, what's gonna happen when you're super busy, you need to take the kids to school, or you need to get to a business appointment and you go out to back out and there's a car sitting behind you? As an investor looking in, this is a huge problem. I know a lot of people that have had to literally sell houses because of this issue, because if your tenants are getting in fights with the neighbors, which is common to do so if you've owned enough rental properties, what's gonna happen is they're gonna move out of your property, extra turnover costs, extra repair costs, because every time they move out, so does money out of your pocket, moving out of your pocket into the house to fix it up before the next tenant comes in. Number 5, what about neighbors from hell? You need to start thinking about this, guys. I've not bought houses just because of neighbors, at least to own long term. You need to go and talk to the neighbors around, ask them kind of the situation around the area. If the neighbor has a yappy dog, or you go talk to the neighbor and you open up the door and you can clearly see this person's gonna be a problem, there may be a reason that current investor's selling that property and trying to fire sale and get it out from underneath them. How do you give a quality property to live in to your tenant, but also in a quality environment around? There's nothing worse than moving into a house, waking up the next day, hearing chickens that you didn't know were there, making noise as loud as possible, waking you up every morning, or hearing dogs running out, and it's just never ending a yappy dog. I literally know people that moved houses because of a neighbor from hell or an atmosphere of hell that the neighbors caused. Never buy a house where there's been an unfortunate incident like a murder or suicide or proclaimed ghost living in the house. I have a notorious property, guys. Go check it out on the internet. You'll see my name pop up. I bought a house where the individual that owned the house unfortunately was murdered. The guy that murdered him represented that he was the homeowner, stole his identity, sold me the house, and buried the guy in the backyard. Think about how hard it's gonna be to sell that house going forward. What do you think is gonna happen when you go buy a house and it was never disclosed and the neighbors start telling you there was a nasty murder, or even worse in the house? This is something that some people don't care about, but some people with certain religious beliefs, this is a massive issue. So about another one. one. This is a serious one, guys. What about individuals that have children? Do you want to buy a house that has child molesters or pedophiles around there? You can go on your Kid City websites, check this out, find out if someone in the neighborhood has had one of these infractions or criminal charges brought against them, and you may want to avoid buying that house if you have a big family with lots of little children. House that you should never buy would be one that you cannot afford. I see this happen all the time. Don't keep up with the Joneses, and don't leave all your disposable income as an investor in that deal just because you want to get cash flow coming in, because if you buy that house with all your money and then the tenant can't pay and you can't pay, there goes a foreclosure on your record. It's going to hurt your career. I'm just going to leave it at this, guys. A lot of people ask me all the time what type of house they should buy. Buy one that you would want to live in yourself if you plan to keep it long term and rent it out to others. And this is a great rule to live by. If you don't want to live in it, probably other people don't want to live in it either. You're going to have a tough time selling it. You're going to have a tough time renting it. I hope these help, guys. I hope you go out there and be smart in your business. And I hope if you're looking to buy a house that you avoid some of these and avoid a headache going forward. See you on the next video.